Welcome back. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here, of course, radionfire.com, the Diamond K Show.com. So much going on. Thank you for joining me, of course. So the coronavirus task force, this impotent squad that Donald Trump has put together, has come out of hiding. The White House, their coronavirus task force, made some remarks today. The first time since July that they've done so. Finally coming out of hiding. As cases continue to climb, this impotent task force did not take any questions. No. Didn't take any questions. As this country surpasses the heartbreaking milestone of 250,000 deaths from COVID-19, with the winter, the flu season, and holidays approaching rapidly. This coronavirus task force is still on the same old BS, same old crap that they've been talking. They try to give a positive spin, stressing that Americans need to remain vigilant, which is true. Someone needs to tell Donald Trump that Americans need to remain vigilant because he's not vigilant. He's a big part of why things are going the way they are. Big part. Cases are on the rise in a big way because of the incompetence of Donald Trump. His foolish rallies, the mixed messages that they put out there. The Health and Human Services Secretary, Alex Azar, well, this guy's an idiot, partisan. Hope and help are on the way. That's how they tried to present things. And Mike Pence thinks he can lull people to sleep with his boring voice. He said the same crap. 45 days been the curve. You didn't stop the curve. Things are worse now than they ever were. But on one hand, he wants to say that we're getting there. And then the next breath, he claims that they stopped the spread. And then, he just double talk. The task force, I can't wait for them to be gone. I can't wait for this administration to pack up and get out. General Gus Perna said that once the FDA gives an emergency use authorization for the vaccine, the government would immediately begin distribution. Okay, so when's it coming? When's it coming? Anybody know? No? Mike Pence says that cases and hospitalizations are rising. This we know. And then he said that Donald Trump, who is likely embarrassed to show his loser face at the briefing, told this impotent task force to speak with the media. This is the single biggest issue in the world, affecting people's health, affecting the economy, affecting everything. And this kid, this man-child in the White House, wants to send Pence to talk about it. And this task force that he undercuts anytime he has a microphone. Deborah Birx. Here's the thing. You can go to school, you can study, they can give you a certificate, your diploma, and you can still be dumb as rocks. Or in her case, dumb as bricks. The COVID-19 positivity rate has increased to about 10%. We didn't slow no spread. Positivity rates are at 10%. And then this idiot, Mike Pence, gets up here talking about they slowed the spread. BS, lies. The positivity rate is 10%. Right? And rising. Experts say that a positivity rate of 5% or lower suggests that a state may have enough testing capacity for the size of its outbreak and is testing enough of its population to plan for reopening. So on one hand, they want to say everything is good. They like to confuse people, right? I'm not confused by the foolishness and the BS, the inconsistent messaging that is coming not only from this White House, but from this joke of a task force, a bad joke at that. Dr. Fauci praised the efficacy of Pfizer and Moderna's vaccines, assured Americans that the review process is rigorous, it's safe, it's going to be effective, blah, 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 blah. He's really there to try to convince people to take this vaccine when it comes out. But this is the thing: when it comes out, it's going to healthcare workers. It's not going to the American people immediately. They would say they're using UPS and FedEx to get stuff out. I thought you were using the military. I mean, the messaging is inconsistent at a time when we need a consistent, a clear and concise message about the most horrible outbreak pandemic that we've seen in 100 years or even heard about in 100 years. We need clear messaging, consistent messaging, and that's not what we're getting. That's not what we've gotten. Task Force claims that they met earlier this week on Tuesday, and they warned of dire consequences if more mitigation measures aren't taken. Oh, wait, thought you slowed the spread. See, inconsistent messaging. And then they're meeting and talking about stuff that we already know. Duh. You need to convince the folks in the middle of the country of that. And how is it that the task force says that the country could reach up to 2,000 deaths per day by Christmas and recommended closing indoor dining and restaurants, but then on the other hand say that it's fine to go to schools? So let me get this straight. Adults can't go in restaurants or indoor dining because they're not going to abide by the social distancing and masking rules. But we can send K through 12 to school? Doesn't make sense, right? These so-called educated people spitting out this foolishness out their mouths with the cameras and lights and just talking like what they're saying makes sense when it doesn't. They're saying that we need to close indoor dining and restaurants. They say that a big part of spread is in college campuses, but K through 12, they're good to go to school. Does not make sense. Telling folks to stay vigilant, stay out of crowds, but send your kids to school. They speak on the mental health of kids staying home and how it, has negative effects on the kids, mental, because they got to work remotely. What about the mental health of a kid if their parent or their family member dies from COVID-19? Oh, the mental strain is more if they have to work remotely than if their family member dies. This is coming from an impotent, idiotic, toothless task force. They also suggested that Pence and Trump urge Americans to take more precautions. While the coronavirus has been spreading around the White House like butter on bread. And these people are the ones trying to tell Americans, to try to guide Americans, Trump has largely stayed out of the public eye since election day, since his loss, because he's a loser. And not only is he a loser, he can't admit that he lost. And even in losing, whether it's how we've been losing to this coronavirus, how he's been losing in the election, how he's been losing in his attempts to turn over the election, you know, it's amazing. Imagine that you have a football game, right? One team A, they won. Team B lost. And Team B at the press conference is talking about, oh, well, we were winning in the second quarter, but you lost the game, right? You may have been winning at that moment, but they don't want to talk about the end of the game. They still want to keep talking about the second quarter when he may have had a small window of being ahead in the score. That's how this president operates. Cannot be gone fast enough. So he doesn't come to the task force meetings because he's just going to turn around and circumvent, or in many cases just dismiss what was said in the task force briefings. Last week he did give a statement about Operation Warp Speed. Didn't want to take any questions because, you know, he's a loser. But he's been pushing to fast track the vaccine. Okay. So when's it coming? I thought that, that's what I'm saying. I thought that you said they were going to stop talking about coronavirus at November 4th. But then you send out this raggedy task force to talk about the most serious pandemic in 100 years. Donald Trump cannot be gone fast enough for the world. So Rudy Giuliani is a liar. He is. He's a liar. And that's no surprise. That's not breaking news. Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani cannot change reality. Joe Biden will be the next president of the United States. Kamala Harris will be the next vice president of the United States. So Rudy Giuliani, president's attorney, this crazy person who used to have some respect around the country, now next to none. He gave a press conference today in which he continued to try to cast doubt on the results of the election. Oh, not all the results, only the results with the president in a couple of states. Right? Now, not where the Republicans won, oh, those are good. In the states where Trump did fine, oh, that's good. It's these other states. And more specifically, it's in black counties in these states. So anyway, it appeared that Rudy Giuliani, who was the mayor of New York during 9/11, like he's supposed to be some respected figure. It appeared that his hair was melting in the press conference. It appeared that his hair was melting. Take a look at this.
Right up. So what we're telling you is supported by evidence. And we're going to have to present these because of the procedures that exist.
What in the world? What was that on the side of his face? Maybe you didn't see it. Let's show that again. Look at the side of his face.
Right up. So what we're telling you is supported by evidence. And we're going to have to present these because of the procedures that exist.
Right. So several hairdressers have said that what was dripping down his face was likely not hair dye. Some people think it was hair dye. Somebody said it was blood. Somebody said the lights caused something to melt. Like there's all kind of speculation about that. And, he was speaking from the headquarters of the RNC in Washington, D.C. And Giuliani became, he was agitated as he expanded on the debunked outright lies, these allegations of voter fraud that he has pursued since the election. But the election has been called for Joe Biden. It's been weeks. So 40 minutes or so into his statement, his sweat began to drip in color. I mean, he was hot. And it's crazy. Look at this one more time.
Right up. So what we're telling you is supported by evidence. And we're going to have to present these because of the procedures that exist.
What a joke. What a joke. When he finally took questions from reporters, the dark liquid streaking down his face, it was impossible to ignore it. It was impossible. He he begged people that were watching not to take him for a joke or make light of what he was saying, but it was hard to take him serious with all of that chocolate goo dripping down his face. Oh, wait, he hasn't presented any evidence. We're just supposed to take his word for it. It's funny, but it's sad at the same time. It's sad at the same time. Many people online on Twitter were assuming that he was the victim of a bad dye job that was seeping out from the lights. The lights can be hot, right? But who knows? This is the president's lawyer. Okay. How far has Giuliani fallen? This guy used to be respected. Now, aside from being a liar, he's a damn joke. So Donald Trump has a Michigan problem. He has a Michigan problem. Michigan is one of the places that he thought that he was going to win. He thought, and he's been trying every stupid trick in the book to try to flip things in Michigan. He's now summoned some Republican leaders, some legislative leaders from Michigan to the White House. So they're going to come tomorrow for some kind of a meeting where he wants them to try to subvert the democratic process that handed this battleground state to Joe Biden. He's trying to circumvent the way we do things here in this country. So, two people that are close to this, of course, they can't put their names on it, right? But Trump has invited Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey and House Speaker Lee Chatfield to the White House. They've agreed to go. They're going. So what are they going to talk about? Neither side has commented. Neither one of these guys has commented yet. So we're going to, I'm assuming, find out tomorrow. But the campaign has openly floated the notion of trying to get friendly state legislators to appoint electors who would overturn the will of the voters. Oh, yeah. If Trump succeeds in convincing Michigan's State Board of Canvassers not to certify Biden's victory in Michigan, state lawmakers could be called on to select electors This would be unprecedented. More than likely, it's illegal. But of course, Donald Trump has not seen a law that he would not try to break. The American people deserve way better than Donald Trump. And 80 million Americans agree and cast their votes for that very purpose. So what's going to happen? We'll find out Monday. It's going to be certified. So Trump is trying his last ditch effort. He's going to try to come down, put some of the MAGA charm on them. This is interesting. This is interesting, and Americans are paying attention. So let's go to the comment section real quick, see what we got here. John Doe says, sidebar, we need Baltimore Club mixes. What's up with it? Okay. So I do have a new mix that is out now on all digital outlets. Diamond K, 60 Minutes of Club Volume 2. That is out. Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, etc., etc. So you can get that. Also, I will be in the mix live Saturday and Sunday, 12 noon, right here. However you are listening or watching this, I will be in the mix. So I hope that answers the question. So look me up on on Apple Music or Spotify or Tidal for 60 Minutes of Club Volume 2, or tune in on Saturday or Sunday, and I will be in the mix. So just tuning in. It's the Diamond K Show, of course, RadioFire.com, TheDiamondKShow.com, and a couple more things I want to get into, and then we are leaving for the versus Gucci versus Jeezy, and then we will be back immediately following that legendary thing to talk about it before the after parties take place at Compound. So let's do this, take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this. U.S. jobless claims have risen to 742,000. Millions stand to lose aid. The number of Americans who are unemployed and seeking unemployment insurance, has risen. Last week, 742,000, the first increase in 5 weeks, and a sign that this outbreak of the coronavirus is going to slow the economy, and unfortunately, it's going to force more companies, to cut jobs. That's why this pandemic is such a major issue. That's why I think it was the deciding factor in the election. As the pandemic gets worse, the cold weather is here. Layoffs are going to increase in the weeks ahead. Of the roughly 20 million Americans now receiving some form of unemployment benefit, about half of those are going to lose those benefits when 2 federal programs expire at the end of the year. Congress, are you listening? Are you paying attention? The Labor Department report today showed that applications for jobless aid rose from 711,000 in previous weeks. Back in the springtime, March to be specific, when the pandemic first began to grow in America, the number had soared to 6.9 million. Before then, applications were around 225,000 a week. So we are way Way past that. Way past that. Just tuning in, it's your man Don McKay in here, radioonfire.com, the DonMcKayShow.com. Let's go back to the comments. Candace Parker said, millionaires do not tell billionaires what to do. If the real money wants him gone, Trump will be out of the White House. Well, Candace, you have a point. However, he's on his way out. And whether you want to say that that's because the billionaires don't want him there or the thousandaires don't want him there, regardless, he's going to be gone. He's bad for the economy. He's bad for Americans. He's bad for business. He's bad for everything. So however you want to point it out, he is going to be gone. So I agree with you on that. In Maryland, a Frederick man faces a federal indictment for threats against President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. How dumb can you get? This Maryland man was indicted yesterday for allegedly threatening Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I mean, what an idiot. James Dale Reed, 42 years old, was arrested on related state charges back in October and remains held without bond. So the warrant lodged against him was a detainer, and the federal criminal complaint on these charges were filed late last month. And they're taking these charges, these threats, very seriously. The right to vote and peacefully support the candidate of your choice is one of the bedrocks of our democracy. So U.S. Attorney Robert K. Hur said that. I agree. I don't agree with a lot that he says, but I do agree with that. So last month, the accused sent a letter threatening Joe Biden and Kamala Harris with physical harm and execution. This letter was left on a Frederick resident's doorstep. The person who he left the letter on their doorstep had a bunch of yard signs supporting the Biden-Harris ticket. So prosecutors alleged that Reed was seen on the door camera. You know what I mean? Like, you know how those the cameras are. And in the state case, the accused is charged with voter intimidation and threatening candidates. So it is, I mean, what an idiot. The charging documents say that Reed admitted to leaving the letter as a warning due to the signs he noticed of Biden, Harris, LGBTQ, and Black Lives Matter people that the victim or the person who was the letter was left on their doorstep. They supported those initiatives. Wow, I mean, just people are just sometimes you just I don't know. Governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan, participated in a COVID-19 briefing with the president-elect Joe Biden today. He took part in this bipartisan video conference with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and other members of Biden's COVID-19 advisory board. So the call had fellow members of the National Governors Association, the executive committee of that group, 4 Republicans, 4 Democrats. So you had this bipartisan thing going on, which is good. Hogan is among the minority of prominent Republicans who have publicly acknowledged and congratulated Joe Biden as the president-elect. So Biden has put together this advisory team outside of experts, as Donald Trump continues to stonewall the whole process and make things difficult. Biden and Harris were in a theater in Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware. And Biden said that, "I want you to know that I will be your partner in the White House." He said this to the governors. Larry Hogan urged the leaders to prioritize a new federal relief package. As I said earlier, people need this help. A bill that passed the House has been stalled since April. For some reason, Republicans in the Senate don't seem to think that Americans need aid, or they don't want to give them aid. The existing funding for state and local governments expires on December 30th. Governor Hogan of Maryland also called for an infrastructure package to help stimulate the economy. Stuff that we need. Definitely. Radio on Fire is a listener-supported radio and podcast network, streaming from our production facilities in Atlanta and Baltimore. And we're able to stream our programs like the Diamond K Show, because of our listeners and some amazing partners. Partners like D Lifestyle Secrets. Are you a baby boomer? Were you born between 1946 and 1964? My parents were. And for more than 71 million Americans who are baby boomers, as you continue to get older, the goal is to stay mobile and experience as few aches and pains as possible. DLifestyleSecrets.com helps you do just that. They provide a blueprint to reduce and or eliminate joint pain by teaching its members how to communicate naturally with their bodies. DLifestyleSecrets.com gives baby boomers step-by-step videos, natural recipes, and most importantly, the motivation to re-energize themselves naturally. Visit DLifestyleSecrets.com to join this active community of baby boomers. So, as I said earlier, we are getting ready to watch the Versus Battle Season 2. Gucci Mane versus Young Jeezy. I can't call it. I don't know who's going to win this. We will be back immediately following this battle. And you can watch that on Apple. You can watch it on Instagram, IG, live. And we're going to dissect the whole thing. And we'll be back after that. So it's going to probably be 10:30. You will listen to the Diamond K Show here on Radio on Fire. See you guys a little bit later.